Johnny Dang is done. Kaput. Rappers aren't playing polite no more. They're snatching them bust down straight out of their mouth on camera. No anesthesia. Sauce Walka put the nail in the coffin. I'm done getting finessed by that man.
Want no free. He wanted to give me some free shit that was way smaller than it.
And Kodak Black made his stance even plainer.
Yeah, I'm gonna take these to the side of me.
Now Johnny is reportedly facing arrest amid allegations tied to fake jewelry sales. And rappers are starting to speak out. Let's break it down. Rappers react. The accusations that sparked the backlash. A lot of this starts with Sauce Walka, a Houston rapper who had been tapped in with Johnny Dang for more than 20 years. Over that time, he spent serious money at the shop, including a Cuban chain worth $500,000, along with custom grills, pendants, and bracelets, with pieces ranging anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 each. This wasn't some random customer checking in every few years. This was one of Dang's longest-running, highest-spending Day One supporters in Houston. Then March 2026 arrived, and Sauce Walka decided to take his concerns public.
I want to put some smile in my mind. I don't want no free. He wanted to give me some free shit that was way smaller than it. I don't want no.
He wasn't just upset about a complimentary piece running too small lately. He claimed Johnny Dang was prioritizing out-of-town celebrities with larger stones, stronger pricing, and noticeably more attention and support than locals. While S, who had supported Dang in Houston for 2 full decades, felt he was being offered a downgrade instead. After all that loyalty and all that money spent, S. Walka felt taken advantage of, like his trust was misplaced.
Give me some free shit that was way smaller than it. I don't want no free. I want my money and I want to go over the top, best of the best, biggest of the biggest, make it.
But the real heat wasn't about the size of the piece. It went deeper than that. Sauce Walka's core accusation was about what was actually inside the jewelry. He claimed Johnny Dang had been sliding CVD diamond slab grown stones made in weeks into custom pieces sold as natural VVS diamonds. The price gap between those two is massive. A 1-carat natural diamond can reach $10,000. A 1-carat lab-grown stone, just a few hundred. Sauce Walka said he was paying top-tier money for stones that weren't top-tier. He called it getting finessed. And in the streets, getting finessed by someone you trusted for 20 years, it's different. To make it clear he was done, he didn't just talk or moved. He pulled up to plug Gio, jeweler Jose Mata, who had worked inside Dang's shop before starting his own, and he ordered a brand new permanent diamond grill set for $1 million. Then he got on camera and showed exactly what he was doing, taking out his Johnny Dang grills and putting in the new ones. He said it wasn't just an upgrade. He said he was setting a new standard for the entire state of Texas. This wasn't the first time they clashed. Back in August 2024, Sauce Walka had already shown a plugged Geo grill on social media, which pushed Johnny Dang to respond with a pointed multi-part video calling out the disrespect. But in 2024, the issue was mostly loyalty and business respect. By March 2026, Sauce Walka took it further. Now he was saying the diamonds themselves were fake. Kodak Black had his own issues with Dang too, but from a different angle. A 2024 video of Kodak Black went viral across hip-hop media, showing him going off on a custom grilled Dang made for Hemoset that cost $50,000. It wasn't long before he posted another video.
Yeah, I'm finna take these to the side of me and go back wall and go.
He said the fit was trash. He said his bite fell off of the men. He said the pieces were too big, too bulky, and sitting in his mouth in a way that made them unwearable day to day. He said straight up he wanted his old grills back, $50,000, and he wasn't wearing them. That is a problem. Kodak's issue was different from Sauce Walka's. He wasn't going at Dang over the diamonds. His complaint was about craftsmanship, spending real money, and not getting a piece that actually worked for him. But both situations pointed to the same result. Artists going one of the most famous jewelers in hip-hop, spending serious money and leaving unsatisfied. 2 artists, 2 public complaints, 2 different reasons, but the same name at the center. And then a third voice stepped in, one that hit harder than both Sauce Walka and Kodak, because this one wasn't coming from a client on the outside. It was coming from someone who had been inside the building. The insider plugged Joe's allegations from within the shop. Plug Gio wasn't speaking from the outside, looking in. He had been inside Johnny Dang's operation, on the floor, deep in the production process. close enough to see exactly what was going into the pieces being shipped to some of the biggest names in hip-hop. That's what gave his words a different kind of weight when he stepped in front of the camera in March 2026 and started talking.
Times where I would ask him and beg him, be like, hey bro, look, I made you $9 million in a year. Just give me 4% commission.
He claimed he brought in $9 million in revenue for the shop in a single year, and all he asked for was a 4% commission. Instead, he said Dang was giving him just 2% and paying him $10 an hour. When he pushed for more, he said Dang offered him only $2 extra an hour.
Oh, I'm gonna give you a $2 raise. I only get paid $10 an hour because I get paid 2% commission every month. What the fuck is a $2 raise gonna do for me and my kids, bro?
The pay issue was real, and it showed exactly why Plug Geo eventually walked away. But the claim that really set the internet on fire had nothing to do with money. It was about what was happening to the diamonds inside the pieces being sold to those clients.
Everybody who's watching, if you got anything from Johnny, check because that boy be putting that CVD in y'all.
He was talking about CVD diamond slab grown stones being slipped into pieces that were priced and presented as natural VVS diamonds. He said clients had already returned to the shop with pieces tested elsewhere, and the results were coming back showing lab-grown stones instead of natural ones. He said he had no answers for them. He told those clients to go straight to Johnny because the production calls were above his level.
And I've had several clients who come in and they'll be like, bro, why my shit tested CVD? Well, I don't fucking know. Y'all gotta ask Johnny, bro. That's Johnny's production.
That right there was the most explosive part of Plug Joe's statement. He wasn't speaking loosely. He was describing real clients walking back in with pieces that had already failed independent diamond tests, pointing directly at the top. By the time he spoke, Plug Geo had already left Dang's shop and started his own competing business. That gave Dang's side room to argue that a former insider-turned-rival had every reason to go public like this. And the fact that Sauce Walka went straight to Plug Geo for a new $1 million grill only added to that narrative. But none of it slowed the story down. The mix of Plug Joe's insider claims and Sauce Walka's client accusations created a wave across hip-hop media that spread fast. Recap videos dropped within hours. Comment sections lit up. Fans began tagging artists who frequently shop with Dang, inquiring whether their pieces had undergone testing. The story was moving quick and hitting everywhere. And it hit hard because the accusation wasn't some random claim. The industry already knew such a feat was possible. Lab-grown diamonds had become cheaper and more accessible. For years, jewelers have been dealing with a market where stones that looked identical to natural diamonds could be made in weeks for a fraction of the price. The temptation to swap them and how hard it is to tell with the naked eye was no secret. Plug Joe's claims tapped into a conversation that had already been building quietly in the jewelry world. And that's what made it even more complicated for Dang. He had already spoken on this exact issue months before it exploded publicly. In a September 2025 interview with KHOU 11 in Houston, Dang openly discussed how lab-grown diamonds were disrupting the natural diamond market. He admitted the two stones looked nearly identical to the naked eye. He said a regular buyer couldn't tell the difference. He even revealed he was taking losses on natural diamond inventory because of the shift. He had already been on camera saying the visual difference was almost impossible to catch. And now a former employee and a former client were claiming that same reality had been used against customers spending hundreds of thousands in his shop. Whether proven or not, the timing couldn't have been worse. And while all of this was unfolding around diamond accusations, another battle had already been heating up for months, one with nothing to do with lab-grown stones and everything to do with unpaid tabs. The debt list millions owed and a diss track to prove it. Before the fake diamond claims ever surfaced, Johnny Dang was already in a public fight, just a different one. In early January 2026, Dang dropped direct-to-camera videos calling out multiple rappers by name for sliding on payments for custom jewelry they had already taken. These weren't subtle hints. He wasn't being careful. He went straight at them.
Where my motherfucking money, man? I need my money. Where the money at? All the rapper too. Sean Skinton, Richie Kid. I need my motherfucking money, man. Yeah.
He put Sean Kingston on blast. He put Rich the Kid on blast. He said they received custom pieces and never clear their debt. The tone in those videos was raw. Not polished PR, not legal talk, just someone who felt played after delivering his side. But he didn't stop there. Dang went further, saying the total amount owed to him had passed $6,700,000. The names tied to that number, according to coverage, included Burna Boy, Justin Bieber, Central C, and Lil Baby, alongside Kingston and Rich the Kid. The Burna Boy situation had its own details. Dang claimed Burna approached him wanting a custom watch to match a recent piece. When Dang asked for a $350,000 upfront deposit, Burna refused, and Dang declined the job. He later went on camera saying whatever watch Burna got wasn't a real Johnny Dang original, hinting it couldn't match his quality. Now, Dang wasn't new to legal battles. Back in 2015, his company took our Capital Group to court in Harris County, Texas, over a commercial project tied to his Houston business. That case moved quietly. Then in September 2025, Krisia Wong filed a breach of contract lawsuit against Dang and related entities over a jewelry deal. Neither case involved fake materials or fraud claims. But the 2026 debt callouts were different because Dang chose to handle it publicly. He didn't just post videos. He escalated it and made a rap about it. Dang dropped a full diss track aimed directly at artists who hadn't paid their tabs. A rap-style video naming names and exposing everything in a format hip-hop lives by. He styled it to match the culture he'd been part of for 25 years, and it spread everywhere. Instagram Reels, TikTok, and Facebook. Nobody had ever seen a jeweler drop a diss track on rappers over unpaid money. That was new. The move was calculated. Dang wasn't waiting on lawyers or paperwork. He used visibility and pressure, the same forces that drive hip-hop, to demand payment from people who took his work and didn't pay for it. In a world where reputation is currency, being named publicly hits harder than court papers. But beyond the drama, it exposed how the business really ran. High-value pieces, $50, 000 grills, and chains worth hundreds of thousands, were leaving the shop before full payment. That was the system. It ran on trust. And when that trust broke, there was no backup plan. The diss track was what happened when handshake deals collapsed. By the time the diamond accusations hit in March 2026, Johnny Dang was already fighting two battles, at once one over unpaid money and one over the authenticity of his stones. Both were playing out publicly in front of millions with no filter. And the rap world wasn't just watching, some started reacting. The ripple effect, Chief Keef, Lil Durk, and a culture testing its own jewelry. Once the allegations dropped, they didn't stay limited to Sauce Walka and Plug Geo. The story spread through hip-hop the way it always does social media, word of mouth, on-camera conversations. And artists didn't just respond online. Some started physically testing the jewelry they already had. Chief Keef became the biggest example. He had been a Johnny Dang client for years. His connection to the brand was deep, part of his image and music. He never publicly beefed with Dang or switched sides. But right after Sauce Walka's March 2026 claims, Chief Keef made a clear move. He went to Cade Jewelers in California not to shop, but to test pieces he already got from Johnny Dang. He tested his pendant. He tested his diamond watch. Both went through professional testing. Both came back green, confirming real diamonds under standard checks. The results favored Dang, but that wasn't what had people talking. What stood out was the fact that Chief Keef felt the need to test it all. He didn't go back to Johnny Dang privately.